from ELOUR. I love that. Welcome.
Hi.
Yeah, you can switch up.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're very excited. You seem to be so busy these days. Tell us a little bit about just what you've been doing and how things are going and how you came to where you are sitting today.
That is a good question.
It's a loaded one.
I'm like, it feels like I've been doing this forever. So I mean, I have been doing music for a long time in like different iterations. I started out solo and folk. I had the Hayburners were like a band I had back in the day now. And yeah, so then ELOUR kind of came about, and the first album I recorded with Underwood Studios was basically like without a band. So kind of started just as like a moving out of folk into rock, and I didn't know what that would look like. And I recorded an album without really having the clearest idea of what it was. So thanks to Mark Stockert, that turned out like it kind of pushed me forward to where I am now. And yeah, it's been a year since our, what I call sort of like our real like official album, Blood Running, because I actually had the band. I had a better concept of what ELOUR was. So it's our year anniversary.
Yay!
Today.
Congratulations.
I know. It was.
Congratulations.
It was, it's, I guess like what I always see like online, and, like people are like, oh, it's so exciting, blah, blah. Like it was, I'm so happy. And I felt like it was a lot of work to get I was like, I'm so tired.
Exhausted.
And I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I'm just like a more like OCD kind of person. So maybe that's why. But it was a lot. Like it was a big accomplishment because it was such hard work. So like when our release happened, I was like, I just kind of want to get this done with. But yeah, it's an album I'm really proud of, and I guess it's been a year. It feels
That's
like
awesome.
10 years ago that it came out.
Well, what's so funny to me, starting off doing kind of a solo rock album, to me sounds like working with no net. But it sounds like maybe the second one was even more exciting or challenging or...
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of help from like Mark and stuff,
He's
like
very
putting
good, yeah.
together the original, like the first album. But yeah, it's better to like I felt more grounded the second one. I'm like, okay, like this is the vibe. And then I worked with Jason Shannon at Zoo School, and he's amazing, and he really even solidified like I had kind of like when I was singing and playing these songs, like I could see the vision, like I could see it, but he helped me like put it out there, like what was in my mind. He got that sound like out for everybody to hear, what I've always heard, So that was pretty amazing. I'm not like a studio person. Like I get really nervous, and like I don't enjoy going into the studio.
Okay.
It's like I gotta like psych myself up. I'm like, okay, you can do this. You're good enough. Like I gotta like read affirmations, do some like staring into my
People
mirror.
like you, damn it.
Yes, yes. Like I like pull down my car mirror. I'm like, you got this. So it was it was nice to work with him, where like he helped me sort of get my real sound out. So that was special. Yeah.
I was just going to say, was it kind of a self-discovery journey sort of thing through, like you said, you saw your vision of what you wanted, but you didn't know how to fully
It's hard, I heard the sound, but it's like, it's like, how do I know how you're hearing my sound, especially when it's not put out there already.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, kind of like, it's like a mind melding with somebody, or like a kindred spirit, where you're like, when you meet a new person and you say something and they say a response and you're like, yes, you got it. It was kind of like that experience with him, where I was like, he gets me.
Yeah.
And it's really, I think it's hard to get that. So, yeah, it wasn't really a self-discovery because I had already, it was just like I met someone that like heard me the way that I hear me. Like he saw me, you know.
And actualization of what was in your head.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was cool and it was special, and you know, I really did have like moments of fun, like a lot of fun. I had moments because
You're like a kid coming home from summer camp. Sorry for the sad letters, Mom. I had fun sometimes.
I know. I am kind of that
the
person.
food was good.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I'm a perfectionist, so it's like I kind of like, you know, music can be a challenge because there's like a lot of unpredictability in it and stuff. So I feel like I'm always trying to find like the good things and like, okay, there were good things. And then there were, you know, I'm going to not think about all the things that didn't work. But so for recording, it was mostly all good, you know. It's
That's
just
good.
It just is like a challenging piece to me because I'm just not used to it.
But you are so engaging on stage. How do you bring that kind of perfectionist and that to the stage? Is that more natural for you? Is that fun? You can feed off the people?
Yeah.
Or are you still like, I am good. I am.
No, I
The
still always
affirmations.
have. I don't think that
All
will
those
ever go
affirmations,
away. So I started out like in, well, I thought I was going to be an opera singer.
I'm just like, yeah, you have a classical background,
Yeah.
don't you? Which is
So I was
amazing.
like,
well, it's paid off in a different way.
yeah.
Your voice is amazing.
Well, I wouldn't say paid off, but I'm using it, so that's good. But yeah, I did then musical theater and stuff. So I think performing is something like I've always wanted to do and have been doing in various forms. But so doing this is like, if I didn't have a guitar, I'm like, I could do some crazy stuff. Because it's like, that's really fun. But the audience also has to be there. Like if there's no audience, it's kind of like, because you do feed, it's sort of like, you kind of like, I'm like a vampire, like feeding off of them and like giving back too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's without the audience, sometimes it's hard to bring it. But I also did like a lot of sports and things like that. And it's kind of like that mindset that like, no matter what it is, you're going to like put on that same show. It's like the on button. Like I have that built into me just as being like a competitor and things like that. So
that's great.
I think it like crosses over. So yeah.
I get that now. It's so funny because I'm not that sporty, but I know what you mean. Like, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's time. For me, it's time, swim your best.
Yeah,
You know, or
right. And it
you're-
doesn't matter. It's like not a very important match or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I still like will act like I'm on like a big stage.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, then when I get on a big stage, it's all the same. You know, it's kind of like, there's no difference between like a bad show and like a more important show. It's like, I'm going to do the same show.
Well, you can kind of manifest it then as well.
I hope so. I have a lot of like ideas. Like when I practice alone in my house, I have this like, I'm on this big stage. It hasn't happened yet.
Well, I was going to say, when I have seen you though, it makes more sense. I didn't realize your theater background because in certain songs, it looks like you're looking over the horizon and not making, and then some songs you look like directly at somebody and it's like, ooh, like it just makes the song.
I'm like, I should do that more because I kind of forget to look at it directly.
No, yeah.
Sometimes people will like do like.
I know, they're like, did she know that one thing that I did with what, you know?
Yeah.
But you have that built in where it even sears the song deeper into the
Good.
listener.
Okay, good. Because
Yes.
it's kind of in my training. Because like we were taught to like look above people, you know, the back of the line of the auditorium, just so. Because then it kind of seems like you're looking at people.
Yeah.
But then sometimes like people are really fun to look at. But I have to remember like to not get like drawn into them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I do that. I'm like, oh yeah. And I like mess
Where
up.
are we again?
Then I like mess up something. I'm like, oh, they're really cute.
Yeah.
Like, they look fun. I should say hi.
Yeah.
Now's a good time for that.
Yeah.
Good song. They
I'm
like that.
I'm very distracted, so I have to be careful because I can get like curious about something like happening out there.
But that makes for the more authentic show.
Right, exactly.
guess.
I said if we wanted it perfect, we'd sit home with a record and pay less for the beer.
That's true.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
there to see what's going on, and
Whole
the more
experience.
the more you can feed in with
I
what else
like
is happening in
that.
the
I
room.
should think of that because, like it is. I mean, that's the fun of it as a performer, too, that I guess, I'm like a nervous person. And I must like that a little bit, though. Because it's like, it can be amazing or it can be really awful. It's like a toss up.
And we've said, give me something that's amazing or give me a train wreck.
I
Every time. And I can enjoy them equally,
know.
Or
Yeah,
someone where there's a train wreck that turns it around where, as I've shown, the power went out midway.
Oh.
And it was drone, not drones. So when the power goes out in a drone show, the person just started singing until they turned the power back on. And I was like, I remember her now. Like,
Wow.
when you can those are the things that
That's
sometimes
cool.
it's the disaster that you remember. Even if there's no shade, even if that person couldn't figure it out, you're like, I remember that. That was exciting. I was there for. Maybe that's
but it is really interesting when you can as the artist or creative person, when you can kind of figure it out, and that's sort of like when you have to use your skills, which is fun.
That would be fun, challenging.
Yeah,
keep you on your toes.
Would you ever play us a song?
Yes. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, keep me on my toes.
No transition there. Right.
Okay. So I put together kind of 3 songs, so I don't know how you want them kind of.
Dealer's choice. We are happy to hear them all.
Okay. I love that I was going to make a bunch of excuses, and then I'm like, maybe I'll just wait till I'm done to make excuses.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do kind of sing loud, so should I just back up? I don't know.
I don't know how you're
hearing me.
Absolutely handle it in here, and I can keep an eye on how it's going out online.
Okay. Well, I'll kind of sing. If it's softer, I'll get in to the mic. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
This is called Ha.
Jam.
ELOUR in studio. ELOUR in studio. I'm going to put the mics back up again for our speaking.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's gorgeous. You have a gorgeous
Yeah.
voice that fills the space in a really warm way.
Thank you.
Even when the song may have some prickles to it.
I know. I've picked all kind of like darker songs.
We're always down for that. Yeah, tell us a little bit about the song.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my songs are about relationships. They start out that way, and then they end up kind of having like a deeper meaning. I guess I'm like, am I a victim? But I guess it was a relationship song initially, about being hurt, kind of just that feeling where you don't feel like someone like really saw the pain, so it's like the blood running where it isn't really, obviously it's like an internal hurt,
right?
But then it kind of goes on to like some other things. Like a lot of my songs end up being a lot about being a woman.
Yes.
It's kind of just
very
like
much
because you feel like there's always, you're kind of, there's this suffering as like a woman that you've kind of had to endure that it's still not like understood on, on a greater level,
no.
Right? Because it's like something you can't really explain. This kind of like struggle that you have constantly of like, who are you supposed to be? And I mean, it's like, I don't know if all women feel that piece of just being really torn and then feeling like it's like a battle to kind of get somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause you're like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And so a lot of things end up sort of being more about like an identity and the struggle of, continuing on. And I don't know, I guess.
I think you really speak well to it. I think that there are a set of invisible obligations and expectations that women have that I will just speak men in particular are totally unaware of.
I don't, and
totally unaware
and even
of,
when you try to like explain, like it's not the same. Like
no,
if I were to like make a joke or do something that could have been funny had a man done it, or could have been okay if a man, I will be like ridiculed.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
And it's like if you're pretty, you're screwed. If you're not pretty, you're screwed. It's kind of just like it's just like a really, and then you're not maybe supposed to be like accentuating your femininity, or you are. Like I feel like there's always so many like rules for us that we're trying to like navigate. Like how do we, and then it's finding like, well, who am I in this too? Like what's authentic, because you kind of have to figure out like what is real for me, because I know I've been like bombarded with all of these ideas. Like, so then I think maybe younger people have a better idea.
I think they do, absolutely.
Yeah. Because maybe it's not so genderized, but I know for me it was. So then I'm like, is this real? Like, is this who I really am? Or like, yeah.
It is, and I have a lot of younger friends, and I'm like, I wish I could just channel them and just say, nothing for you, leave me alone. Whereas they're like, oh, thank you, you think I'm pretty? That's nice. No, thank you for the beer. No, thank you for the beer. And whereas I just say, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Leave me alone, because I want to be nice, but I don't want to talk to that. And
right.
And that escalates to everything. The workplace. We're like, why am I the one taking notes at every darn meeting?
Yeah. Like, and that nice piece that I have to be like nice and make people feel comfortable.
Yes.
Like it's my job to make sure everybody's okay. And it's like, well, like that's a weird expectation, knowing like who I am, that I'm kind of like a weird neurotic person, like privately. It's like, but I'm the one making sure like everybody's okay, because that's kind of what I grew up with. Yeah. I don't know, but then maybe it's like it's the same though for these young people too. It's just that it's a different set of rules for them now. I don't know. I always question when like there's like different trends and things like that. Like is it like what I don't know. I just constantly like, is this real? Is this authentic?
Well, and I think that there are fewer of those, invisible expectations on us than on our mothers. You know what? That's a lie. I think they weren't so invisible back in the day.
Yeah.
I
mean, and maybe that's, maybe that's better in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they were honest. Like ours were still there, but it just was like, you can be everything you want. You can do it all. And then you find out at 40 when you're unmarried without a child, you're like, and they're like, you actually probably can't have a child now. And you're like, wait, but you said I was supposed to do my career and like not get married. And I was supposed to like live my life for me. And now you're saying, actually, I missed all these windows to do the things.
Yeah.
So it was like, that's how I was brought up. Like, you don't have to like you can do all you want to do. You don't have to get married. You don't have, and you can wait. And then I did, and it's like, well,
yeah, that really does too. Yeah, I just ended up with 3 kids, working full time, doing all the,
Yeah, I mean,
which also it's a different, but also you're like, well, why did I want to do it all?
I know.
Like, what I'd like to do is sleep for a hot minute.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, and I was like, dude, I still don't think like like if we're looking at like male, female, like gender still, like do the people that identify as men, male, like still, do they have these feelings? Like, I don't know if like, I don't know. I just feel like these are like very much like female issues.
Yes, I think that
because we have like time limits. Like if you do want to have a child,
for that sort of,
like,
absolutely,
it's like
absolutely.
I don't know. It's just like I wonder sometimes. Like, so I guess a lot of my songs end up being very about my experience as a female. And they all kind of, even when it's about a relationship, it's something bigger than that.
Because I always think for myself, some of it, a couple of weeks after the relationship is ended, you just kind of have to look at your own ownership of what's happened and what you're going to do with it.
Yeah, and why did I feel like my life was like wrecked because of this relationship? Like why was this so painful to me? And it's like, because like I think relationships for women are a big part of who we are. Like having one or not having one is like a piece that we like use to identify. Like, are we doing well in life? Yeah. And that's a big, I mean, when you think of how hard a relationship that's a lot to put on yourself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, whoa. And I'm like, I guess I'm a failure in my relationship. No. But like, it's so impactful about like my success, right? And it's like, that really shouldn't be, but for my experience, it has been. Yeah. And I know for a lot of women, it is like a big piece of like, what you're trying to accomplish in life and having that relationship that is working well. So I guess that makes sense that a lot of my music is about really, because it's a huge like piece that I'm always trying to like put together. Like I did this, success.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, and I think that there were a couple in particular. It helped me sort of go, oh yeah, I'm not the only one who's feeling that, like, that unseen and the rules that only I know.
Yeah.
And some of them are societal, and some of the rules you make up for yourself, and you think, why would you?
Yeah. But you find out they're really not often made up by yourself. Like they are out there.
Yeah.
It's just hard to put it all in words, and then it's like, it's like everybody's experience is like unique at the same time. Yeah. But I would say we have like, if women came together, we'd probably all have this sort of understanding of like how we're supposed to be in the world,
Absolutely.
And is that right? I don't think so, but for me it's been like the reality, and I can try to change it, but only like to an extent for myself,
Well, and then to share the experience with others is how you
because it's like I want to make sure that, I guess like it's like coming together, it feels like less bad. Even something like, is my pain funny? Like this, I wrote it in this like, but then when people come together, it feels lighter, right? Like the weight feels like it's okay. Like we're awesome. Like this is, like this just makes us better. This like suffering or something.
Right.
So coming together and like relating is definitely huge.
It's huge. I'm looking a little bit at the clock because I want to make sure that we get.
Talker.
No, that's awesome. But I want to make sure we get in the music too.
Okay.
Would you like to play another song? And then I know you got some exciting news to share with us.
Oh yeah,
too, so.
which I'm like, I've got to look up on the phone to make sure I say it correctly. Oh, I turned this down because my guitar will buzz. Still I fell for you, just the same, without ever knowing your name. How was I to know you were never going to let go? Still I fell for you, just the same, without ever knowing your name. I didn't know I had opened up the door. Had no idea what was gonna be in store. It was just the look in your eyes, the look in your eyes. Yeah, we talked a little bit, but I wanted more. You said let's just wait and see if we're meant to be. I thought that you would call. It was weeks, then months before I knew you were gone. Yeah, I waited to see. I guess we weren't meant to be. I didn't know I had opened up the door. Had no idea what it all was for. It was just the look in your eyes, the look in your eyes, and I look in your eyes, the look in your eyes.
Your vocals are insane.
Oh,
It's
thank
insane.
you.
I was gonna say this tune reminds me of if you blended Lana Del Rey and Joan Jett together.
There you go.
That's a good combo.
I know. That's what it's. That's what.
Really?
I know
Okay,
when I
that's
hear it.
amazing.
Yeah.
I love both of them
Good.
for very
Well,
different reasons.
Exactly, but you mix it well. It's such a cool song. I love that.
Oh,
I love
thank
that
you.
vibe. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I like that song. That's a good one. It's an older one too, so.
And for folks who are just tuning in, I'm going to let you know we're talking about The Look in Your Eyes by ELOUR, who we have in studio on Mostly Minnesota Music, WMCN 91.7 FM in St. Paul.
It's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, it's gorgeous. You can hit some awesome notes.
know.
Thank you. Sometimes I use like because I don't have a sound person, you know, at my shows because we're just not that big. I use like a voice box. So it's like a TC Helicon Live that I put like a bunch of effects on. Well, actually I have like 3 settings, so it's not a bunch, but it gives me this. So for my high notes, it gives a lot of like verb. So I can just like verb out. So it's different singing them without anything. I'm like, ooh, wow, okay. I actually have to be on for these because I can get away with like a little bit of, you know, when you have effects on, you kind of can kind of get away with not being perfect.
Sounded pretty darn pure in here. It
Yeah.
sounded amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. You've got some good news to share, I think.
Yes. So we signed with Epictronic, and they will be re-releasing our album, Blood Running, and our videos. And the cool thing is they'll be doing it on like a very big level. We won't feel like locally, but it's more like an international level. So, you know, we never know when you sign up with something like this, like you never know if anything's going to come out of it, but at least we have a better chance.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm thinking of it. I'm like, it's hard to be super psyched because I'm like, what's going to happen? Like,
Cautiously optimistic, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just another opportunity for more to happen. So they're going to be, they officially are announcing it, I think, the end of April. And then throughout the summer, they'll be re-releasing things. And then they made, we have a song called Break Me that didn't have a video yet. And they did like a lyric video for it.
Oh, nice.
So that will be something kind of new for people. But yeah, I'm hoping, I don't know, that it opens up more doors.
They seem like they're very international.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to be heard in Sweden or different place, you know.
I know, and sometimes I'm like, well, maybe I'm in the wrong area to get big or something, you know. So I'm excited. I hope I hope we feel some effects from it. So that's exciting for us. Yeah, that's our big news.
I like the idea of making the most out of an album that you're super proud of, and is an amazing album.
Yeah,
I mean, give it new life, new breath every now and again.
Because like people ride. I mean, some people that have had like major success will ride on one album for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like to write, so I don't. If I can get more money to go in and record, I do have a lot of new songs to record, but. You know, these are our album, the songs on it are still like our most solid songs just because we've been doing them the longest, and we obviously picked them to record, so we knew they were kind of like more maybe catchy or kind of had a quality that could hopefully make them bigger. But yeah, you can ride on an album if it's good for a long time, essentially. But people like, I think as artists, we like to keep like popping out new stuff, but I mean, you've known, like, people that have basically done, like, one album, and, like, 10 years later, they record again, so.
And we still want to hear that first album.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
you're like, we don't want the new stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And it's, and then along with that, it would be great if you could do some international touring.
Yeah, we would need a lot of money to do that. I mean, it's just, like,
true.
It's hard to, I don't know if it was, maybe... It's so expensive to tour around here, even locally. Yeah. Like if we go like 4 hours away, we have to make a lot of money to just break even.
Oh, yes.
With 4 of us in the band. And so it's definitely like, it's hard to do this now. And maybe it was always hard, too. It's like, I don't know. I wasn't around doing this earlier. So for me, it's like, I don't know how people tour right now unless they're making like a lot of money.
A labor of love for sure. But you've got some shows coming up more locally.
Yes, we do. April 26th, we're at the 331 with Chandler's House. And let's see, May 10th, we're in Mankato at Nakado with Jeffrey Fishbein. And he does the Only Every Mondays. I don't know if you've heard of that, but he like supports a lot of local musicians by giving them a place to play. A lot of us
Nice.
like that have bands will come and like play solo on a Monday.
Oh,
So it's
very
kind of
nice.
like a cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, you want to keep up. I don't play solo anymore, but it's like it's really good to always keep that up because as like the only writer of our, I mean, I write all the music and do everything for our band. So it's important that if I have to, I can like go off on my own.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the 10th, and then 11th, we are at
The White Rock?
which I don't know that venue in St. Paul.
In St. Paul.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I haven't either. I've heard very good things about it. So I was like, oh, maybe this is going to be my chance to go down there.
Yeah,
So
I
think
will.
that'll
It will be
interesting.
like my first time there too, and I believe it's Spaceship Caravan. Oh, I'm gonna.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, they Airship Caravan. Okay,
That's right.
sorry, they booked it. So yeah, I think it's their first time there as well. So that will be the 11th of May. So yeah, we've got some things around here that people can come check out the full band.
That's fantastic. That's, again, it's me, the clock woman. Would you like to play one more?
Yeah,
I would love to
sure.
hear one more, please.
I'm like, I was like trying to figure out like how do I want to sit in here on this chair. All right, this one, yeah, is it true? And it is on Blood Running as well. Oops, here we go. I can't help myself when I look at you. I touch myself when I think of you. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Is it true? I've got to stop calling your phone, even when I know you're all alone. Do you miss me ever? Will you miss me ever? Is it true that you never loved me? True that you have somebody? True that you'll never see me like I see you? Think of ways to get your attention. Interesting things I could mention. Make up conversations in my head. Pretend you're with me as I lay in my bed. Is it true that you never loved me? True that you have somebody? True that you'll never see me like I see you? Is it true that you never loved me? True that you have somebody true, that you'll never see me like I see Is it true? Is it true?
Is it true? By ELOUR in studio here with us, Elizabeth Gandour. Thank you. Okay, the opera stuff is, you're using it.
Yeah, I know. I've got to throw it in
Wowee,
there. It's like I spent so much money on that education.
I know, aren't there times you're like, oh, I should.
I'm like, just throw it in. Like, it's fun.
If you can, why?
Yeah.
If you got it, use
And
it.
you gotta use it or you lose it. That's
Right.
like for
Well,
real.
that's
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's chilling.
Oh, cool. Yay. Thank you so much
Fantastic.
for having me. This is really cool.
Oh,
So
we
I'm gonna
delighted.
become a regular fan now. So
Okay. Yes. Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah, this has been an honor.
Yeah.
We'll look forward
for
to
me
seeing
too.
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm gonna say for me the White Rock. That's the
Yep.
that's the
Okay.
best bet.
Cool. That would
Can't
be
goes too far.
Well,
I mean,
but
it's not that
I
far,
do
really, but-
appreciate the solo because it's fun today to hear you by yourself.
because
It's
you can
just-
really
yeah.
hear the vocals and
Yeah.
the words, and like it is funny because some people think the voice box is like a trick, like
Yeah,
oh, it makes you better or something, but it you really have to use a tool right. You still have to be able to sing.
yep.
So I like, this is good for me to do, to be like, yeah, I really
This
still
is-
am an actual singer. Because sometimes the sound gets so big that, I'm just yelling up there. And, it's nice to be able to sing.
Yeah,
It's been well, and I think it takes twice the skill to have the voice and be able to use the tools.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And solo is a challenge. And I'm someone that kind of I like to throw in something kind of hard to make myself like, okay, I have to work for today.
I
On
think
your
that's
toes,
I
on
always
your toes,
you should
Lois.
always be doing something kind of scary.
Yeah. To grow. Yes, definitely. So thank you guys
Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much.
So
yes,
fun.
Yes. Yep. And real quick, the dates again are April 26th.
Yes, 331. And that's a great venue just because,
Yes.
it's like you never feel uncomfortable there.
No,
like, it's
just tip the band.
It's a
I'll say
hodgepodge.
for
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Tip the band.
Yes.
Always free, tip the band.
Yes.
And the bartenders while you're
Yeah,
at it.
great bartenders too.
Yeah.
So that's like the local show as well as the White Rock
White Rock.
in St. Paul. Yep.
On May
Otherwise, if
11th?
you're in the Mankato area, Mankato is kind of the 10th of May is when we'll be there.
There you go. All right. Thank you.
Yes. What do we have? We have the silent treatments, first world problems. Man, honey, you're